All right, everybody. So recently, I have been talking more and more about a content creator who you all know. You all know the name of this guy. There's not a single person on Earth who doesn't know the name of this guy, Mr. Beast. Now, people's opinions on Mr. Beast range very widely. Because here's the thing. When somebody is as popular and well known as Mr. Beast, you're kind of required to have an opinion on him. You know what I mean, right? Like, somebody's going to ask you what you think of him. You're going to be inundated with so much exposure to him in some way, shape, or form that eventually you're just going to end up developing some kind of an opinion. And because of that, due to the broad range of exposure to this guy, from super fans to people who've just heard of him and are about tired of hearing the goddamn name Mr. Beast, you're going to hear a lot of very broad opinions on the guy. Now, personally, for a very long time, I've actually watched Mr. Beast for a while, since the Fortnite days. Back when Mr. Beast was like, I remember being like, whoa, Mr. Beast is getting big now, when he when he painted a school bus blue and, like, tricked it out to be like a gaming, bus wagon thing for Tfue, the Fortnite streamer, and made it into a battle bus. That was really fucking cool. I remember seeing that and being like, whoa, Mr. Beast is really getting up there in the world, you know? And I always kind of liked his videos because a lot of his videos he would film in the area of the country that I grew up in, anywhere around like Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, just that kind of area that I've seen a lot of in my life. And the area that I grew up in. So there were legitimately Mr. Beast videos where I was like, holy shit, I recognize this place that he would be at, you know? There's nothing about his content that, to me, seemed particularly problematic. But over time, I started to get more progressive, more politically minded, more activist-minded, you could say. And over time, I started to find myself consuming non-political content in my free time differently. It got harder and harder to not wonder about the political leanings of the person that I'm watching or the political outcomes that could occur from the content that I'm consuming, right? Like, I may like a edgy joke that a comedian tells, but now I'm wondering, I wonder how many of this comedian's fans took that the wrong way. I wonder if this joke is going to have broader cultural reverberations that are going to have negative impacts on what I cover, and what I discuss and what I care about, you know? And it gets harder as I get more woke, so to say, to mindlessly and just with nothing but enjoyment in mind to consume non-political content. With that said, this has eventually led to me wondering, is what Mr. Beast does ethical? I want to say right now, a lot of what Mr. Beast has done is objectively good. He's a philanthropist who's done a lot of really positive things around the world, charity and, physical, like, outreach-wise. He has also done a lot of questionable stuff. The biggest thing that I think is questionable is the way that he kind of waves large amounts of money in front of, like, people's faces as like a carrot on a stick, and they have a chance to get it. Usually they have a chance to get it, but not a guaranteed chance to get it, and many times they don't, right? There's been multiple videos where, like, a pretty broke dude is taken off the street and, like, brought into a studio, given the opportunity to walk out of there with, like, life-changing $250K, and they don't get it. There's been cases where that same guy comes back again with another chance and then leaves again not having gotten it. There's also been criticisms of, like, oh, well, if you do win and he gives you an expensive car, what if you can't afford the taxes on it? Well, you can always sell it, so that's not always that. That's not a very good criticism. There's been a lot of criticism of Mr. Beast over the years, right? A lot of people will point to the good that he's done as a response to the problematic aspects of his content. I think there's also a lot of issues with the way that he glorifies money, just conceptually, right? And I've seen quite a few videos that make a good case as to how Mr. Beast content can be unhealthy for kids because of the way that it glorifies money and capitalism. However, I've never really been able to put it into words, you know? such a popular figure who's so beloved, you got to be careful when you're going to criticize him, right? It's you got to know what to say and how to say it. If you're going to make people think, oh, okay, I understand what you're saying, and not think you're just some hater and, immediately jump to defend their favorite content creator who they love and entertains them. That said, Mr. Beast, well, he's had a little bit of controversy recently, right? And the go-to response to said controversy, it wasn't a controversy where I think he was in the wrong, by the way. I want to clarify. I covered it. It was a few weeks ago. You can look it up. Xander Hall, Mr. Beast drama, something like that. It was a few weeks ago. It involved him. He was going to do a challenge or like a thing where he would be at a Piggly Wiggly and everybody who was in the store when he got there, he would pay for everything they bought. And so the idea was that they'd get to the front counter and be told, oh, by the way, everything that you bought here, free. Your entire grocery shopping thing you got here, totally free. You can leave with all your stuff. Like that was going to be the video, but it leaked that he was planning it, and the place got raided by people who were just stuffing trash bags full of stuff, and he had to cancel it and everything, and it just ended up being a whole nightmare. And while I don't think he was in the wrong for that, it was interesting to me how many people's go-to response to any criticism of Mr. Beast in that was, look at how much he's done here, here, and here. And very quickly, I started to realize something. Mr. Beast, whether he means to or not, has basically made himself, much like Elon Musk did for a while, and still kind of has made himself uncriticizable. If you criticize Mr. Beast, you look like the asshole who's attacking the guy building wells in Africa. It's hard for me to determine whether or not is it Mr. Beast going out of his way to do kindness, or is it Mr. Beast going out of his way to do things that makes it pretty much impossible to, attack his character should he do anything wrong? Makes me wonder. But that's all there really is, right? Now, personally, the worst thing that Mr. Beast has done, in my opinion, is simp for Elon Musk. He dick rides for Elon Musk and Tesla, and just the aesthetic of the tech bro Elon Musk stan overall, like nobody's business. Mark Rober does it too. Mark, like all these tech bro, like, we hip young tech bro YouTubers are gonna bring about the future with our YouTuber millions, and it's like, I'm sorry, but the people who are controlling the world and destroying it have magnitudes more wealth than Mr. Beast or Mark Rober. They're not going to save the world. With that said, I do think they contribute a lot to the faux futurism thing. And a lot of people kind of play into this cringe idea of like, oh yeah, when you donate to Team C's, we're going to save the world, Team C's. It's like, I did a charity for Team C's and donated like $5,000 or something like that. I forget how much we raised. And I'm glad I did. But when I looked more into the charity well after the fact, I found out half of that donation went to a very reputable, well-known, and well-respected ocean wildlife conservancy, while the other half went to a startup on those that's making those like river garbage gobbler things, those little barges that are on the river and they like catch the garbage and they like suck them up. It seems like it's a really good invention, like a good investment, but in reality this method only gets about like 20% of the garbage floating down a river. Most of it is microplastics that would never get picked up, and garbage that's just on the lake or the riverbed, or suspended in the water. All it does is clean up the surface of the water and make it look nicer. And so when I found out about that, I was like, oh, yikes. So while there's not been anything about Mr. Beast specifically that makes me go, oh, this guy is problematic, cancel him, yada yada, I will say, I'm iffy. I'm definitely iffy in certain respects. With that said, and having voiced that concern multiple times on my stream before, some fans have sent me a video by content creator The Cavernacle. And this video is called Why Mr. Beast's Content is Gross and Exploitative. Apparently, this video makes a case as to why Mr. Beast's content itself is problematic. So I'm willing to hear the arguments here. I generally like the Cavernacle's videos, so I'm copying and pasting the link to his video in the chat here. So go drop some support so we're not just yoinking content without any compensation to the creator of said content. And let's take a look. Let's give it a look.
I got hit hard financially because like I was in the hospital for 4 days and not working right now.
You actually got the virus?
I got the virus. Wow. Yeah.
So you were furloughed from your job. You then got the virus, and now you're stuck with medical bills?
15 grand is what I've heard so far. Obviously, like not working and living in San Francisco. Like, I'm like, where am I going to find that?
Yeah. Hold up. One second, sir. I got to talk to my news anchor. We got to take care of this. Okay. Hey. So we here at MBSNDCGDBY News would like to give you $15,000 to cover your hospital bills. Also, I'm not a real news anchor. This is the most expensive firework in the entire world, and it cost me over $160,000. And I also bought a $5,000 firework, a $10,000 one, and this big behemoth right here is a $40,000 firework. And everything here, we spent over $600,000 on this video, and every single firework will be launched.
Like many of you, I assume that you've been exposed to MrBeast from YouTube actually pushing him, whether that be on your recommended tab or on the trending tab or recommend.
Not based. I mean, I think that him helping that guy with his medical bills is definitely based. I do think it's a little leading to be like, okay, so here's MrBeast helping a guy with his medical bills, and then here's MrBeast spending twice that amount, 3 times that amount, 10 times that amount on fireworks for another video. I get it, and I imagine the argument's going to be made that, like, broadcasting acts of kindness like this is kind of, it's sort of monetizing good deeds in a dishonest seeming way. But at the same time, when your career is YouTuber and you need that money to do those things, you can also make the case that, like, yeah, him filming himself doing these acts of kindness allows him to continue to make more money so he can continue to do those things. And then, of course, there's the argument of who cares if he's genuine? The world is still objectively being made better by his acts of kindness, and it's an argument too. I'm curious what the arguments the Cabernacle's going to make are going to be here.
Recommended under videos you're watching. Essentially what this guy does is make crazy YouTube videos, a lot of the time revolving around spending a ton of money. Sometimes it even amounts to about $1 million that he actually uses on certain things in a video. So after first being exposed to his content, I've been really trying to think about why I have a problem with it, because it never sat well with me. And he does a lot of good work as well, and I know a lot of people in the comments are probably going to be saying, MrBeast has done X, Y, and Z, what have you ever done? Which is a fair point. He's given a lot of money to various good causes, he's given money personally in these videos to people who need it, but I guess in this video what I want to talk about is how he uses these situations to grow his channel, and then it is in very poor taste a lot of the time where...
You can see, like, why that kind of would sit uneasy with somebody who's a little bit more in the political space, when somebody's go-to response to defend someone is, he's done this, this, and this, what have you done? Because in the political space, that is always a dishonest response, pretty much, to criticism. If there's, like, valid criticism being levied towards someone in the political space, and the response from that person's fan base is, they've done this, this, and this, what have you done? And trying to turn the attacks around on you, that's usually being done in dishonesty.
He will give a certain amount of money to someone who is in desperate need of it before then going to spend about $500,000 on something ridiculous like the world's biggest firework. And although it's not totally known where all his money comes from, people think, and he says it's mostly from brand deals, I'm just going to talk how it's in pretty poor taste during what is going on in the world currently at the moment to be throwing around so much money on ridiculous stuff, which is often very wasteful.
This video came out in June 2020, July 2020, I think. So in the midst of COVID.
Stuff that can never be used again or can never be sold again, and then talk about why his content is sort of exploitative, just like traditional game shows back in the day. So this video is going to be sort of split into two. The first part is going to be talking about this game show he did a couple months ago. The second part is going to be talking about his donations to people who needed it during the current situation in the world at the moment, and then how he wastes loads more money on doing really, really stupid stuff. So MrBeast...
Okay, I do think it's a pretty boomer cringe criticism to say he wastes money on doing stupid, wasteful stuff like giant fireworks, when these videos literally get like tens of millions, sometimes close to 100 million views. You know, like these videos get an absurd amount of viewership, and he's now the biggest YouTuber on the platform because of them. So is it really wasting money? Also, I'll give a little bit of insight, because as somebody who's watched MrBeast for a while, I know a little bit more about where he has his income streams as a content creator. He has a bunch of different YouTube channels. He's got a React channel where he and his friends react to like random YouTube clips and stuff like that, and that has a pretty large source of income. He's got like a gaming channel for gaming content, which also produces a fair amount of interesting content that produces a lot of money. So all of those off channels that he produces for produce income as well. And he most certainly also invests in crypto as well as stocks. There's no way in hell Jimmy doesn't do stonks in crypto. So that's where I'd guess he gets a lot of his money.
Up a game show where various people would compete to win $1 million. He actually clickbaited a lot of this because he did this in the numerous rounds. So he had parts 1 to 4 and said, you know, the last two, whatever, wins $1 million when they don't actually win $1 million. So you have last to fall wins $1 million, part 1. Last to stop swinging wins $1 million, part 2. Last to leave the toilet wins $1 million, part 3. Last to stop riding bike wins $1 million, part 4. Like I said, no one in these videos wins $1 million. They win this round and get put through to the final round. So this final round is last to take hand off $1 million keeps it. So yeah, it's pretty straightforward. The finalists all put their hands on a box of $1 million, and the last one to leave basically wins that.
Dead serious. Last one of you to take your hand off this $1 million stack of cash keeps it. I don't care if it takes an hour, day, week, month, year. I don't care if it takes a decade. The last one of your hands to come off this $1 million keeps it. Yeah! Mark is the winner of the $1 million challenge.
No way!
Yes.
No way! No way! No way! No way!
$1 million, Mark. $1 million, you can buy a house, a Lamborghini, another house, depending where you live, another house.
This is unbelievable. Wow, man.
It's now your family's money.
Yeah, all of this.
Oh my God.
$1 million.
That's, to be fair, that is not going to be $1 million after taxes, okay? That is not going to be, well, they are in North Carolina. They do most of these videos in North Carolina, so I wonder if that would impact the taxes a bit. It's still a massive payday, but certainly not a cool, hard million that this gentleman's walking away with today. Yeah, life-changing money regardless.
$1 million.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
You lying?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So your boy's a millionaire, so I promise you that ring, and it is coming towards you when I come back.
So the contestant, Mark, wins $1 million. You can see there, very, very happy, calling his wife. This guy has just won a life-changing amount of money. Why shouldn't you be happy for him? He won it through a kind of stupid...
I mean, I don't know if winning $1 million, which is going to be less than $1 million after taxes, makes you a millionaire, but, you know, enjoy the moment.
game show, but again, some random guy winning $1 million, wouldn't you like to do that as well? And I hope it was made clear, because the follow-up video is spending $1 million in 24 hours, where this Mark guy has to spend all his money within one day. Now, again...
Bro... Are you serious? I didn't watch that one. I watched the $1 million challenge, and everything that I was led to believe that they were just going to be able to walk away with $1 million. They had to spend it all in 24 hours for another video? Dude. That feels like... I hope they were informed going in, right? That was how it was going to go. But as a viewer who did watch those videos, I kind of feel misled and kind of let down with that revelation. Like, you didn't get to walk away with the $1 million? What did he end up... Obviously, you know, you can buy a bunch of shit and then, you know, sell it. But what I'm curious about is, what did he end up buying and how much did he end up getting to keep? Because did he manage to spend $1 million in 24 hours? And is he going to be able to resell it for anywhere near $1 million? And then after taxes, how much is that going to be? Like, fuck. Let's see what happens.
And I hope this was made clear when they signed up to do this game show, because if it wasn't, that is a pretty awful thing to do. Just spring on this guy, yeah, you've got to do this to make some really stupid video of me, and all the suffering you went through for these ridiculous yet hard challenges. You don't really get to choose how to spend your money in a proper way, because I know, like a lot of you, if I won $1 million right now, £1 million, whatever, I would not be spending it in a day, I would not be spending it in a month, I would not be spending...
Hell no. No, if I won $1 million right now, you know what I'd do? I'd put, like, the vast majority of it into, like, the S&P 500, because that's basically just pretty much the entire, not all of it, but I'd split it up among a bunch of index funds, very safe and generally high earning index funds. This is not investment advice, by the way. This is just what I do. Put a fair amount of it into, you know, just a savings account, so it accrues some value and is a bit safer than being in the stock market, just in case. Yeah, getting a financial advisor would probably be smart. This is just what, off the top of my head, like what I would want to do if I was like, oh, here's $1 million. Okay, well, this is what I want to do if I had it, right? And what I'd be upset I couldn't do if I was told I had to spend it in 24 hours. And then I'd buy a house pretty quickly, like buy like the dream house, because Once you bought a house, I mean, that's at least a third of all the things you ever have to worry about pretty much dealt with once the mortgage is paid off and you're good. That's pretty much you're set.
Spending it in a year, I'd probably buy something like a new house and then I'd keep it or invest it. Now in the video you'll see he just wastes it on lots of ridiculous stuff.
All right, so you now have 24 hours to spend the $1 million. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Let's do it. Here you go.
Thank you.
Two.
Give me two. I want a Nintendo Switch.
All right.
Two of us.
Whoa, two.
You sure you don't want the cheaper one? I'm just messing with you. Get $1 million.
Why not Tesla stocks? Isn't Tesla like fucked right now?
Series 5.
Okay.
Oh, no. Do you know 10 pluses?
Of course, the new iPad as well.
Wow. Thank you. I don't know how much that was, but it's right there on the counter.
All I need from you is a signature right here. The vehicles are yours.
You better not read it. You're a millionaire. You get time to read.
Yeah, Tesla wasn't looking too good last I checked.
What if Mark was like, yeah, how much is this coat rack? Just for clarity, how much is this house? It's 165, right? Yeah. Okay, which is perfectly in the budget.
So like you see, cars, video game consoles for his friends, all this stuff. Now it also goes on to show Mark's situation, which I think is inherently quite exploitative, playing the sad music where it shows Mark's life, which again shows a lot, but I think it also indicates something that is inherent in most game shows, is that people go on them to win, and people are desperate to win, just like Mark has the drive to do those challenges. He was way more determined than most people in these challenges because his situation is so bad.
Now we're gonna take you to Mark's house and just show you where he lives. So this is where you currently live.
Yeah, I could not imagine losing a MrBeast challenge. Like unironically, like that stand there with your hand on the $1 million thing. I would stand there and watch. I would look MrBeast dead in the eye as I piss my pants, if that's what it took to stay there longer than ever. I would look him dead in the eye and just go, as I piss, like, Jimmy, I'm pissing because I'm gonna win and nothing's gonna stop me. That'd be me, all right? Ain't no fucking way I'd lose a MrBeast challenge like that. It'd have to be like a actual challenge that requires skill that I do not have. Like the Squid Game one. Like the Squid Game challenge, that's when I'd probably lose. Like the red light, green light, I was never great at red light, green light. I've never had steady hands, so the licking the thing to get the little thing, I wouldn't be good at that. Like that challenge, I'd lose. But if it was like endure something or like endure anything for any amount of time, I think I could handle it. Like that guy who spent a month living in that little house, I'd do that. I'd absolutely do that and vlog all 30 days inside that little house, getting terrorized by MrBeast and his friends for like, what was it, like $1 million? That was a good video.
This is my room. You know, this is where me, my wife sleep. See, it ain't no room at all. Like
You can't even open the door all the way.
right.
This is my little cousin's room.
Your little cousin sleeps on an air mattress?
Yeah, and he popped it, so it's flat.
Your cousin is sleeping on an air mattress that's like has a hole in it, so he's sleeping on the floor.
Floor.
Can I just say, I'm super glad you won the $1 million. I really am. The
you.
more you shows around, the more I'm like, thank God you won the $1 million.
So it's a kind of an insult in my mind when MrBeast says the more he shows them around his house.
That does kind of have Hillary Clinton entering a working class home energy, doesn't it? Like that one image where it's like Hillary Clinton walking into like a normal working class apartment and like she looks freaked out to be there. Like she looks like she's in a literal sewer. That's how she's reacting.
The happier he is, he won him.
Like unironically, I don't know if you guys know this, but like it's not that unusual to sleep on a mattress without a bed frame. Like bed frames are pretty expensive. Like I've literally slept on a mattress for a lot of the time that I spent doing YouTube. Like just a mattress on the floor. Like bed frames are expensive. It's not really that unheard of.
$1 million, sort of saying, look at the dump you live in, look at the way you live, I'm so happy you don't have to live here anymore. In my mind, that's pretty tasteless because lots of people around the world live in worse conditions than Mark here. Just having money doesn't mean you'll be significantly happier. Of course, it's nice to be more comfortable. And it also points to a wider problem with MrBeast's content in that he often gives money to poor people. He gives money to food banks and all this good stuff. He's beating around the bush by just giving money to these good causes, but at the end of the day, he's not doing anything significant to tackle the real problems of the world economy, of the US economy, why it's so bad, why unregulated capitalism and just capitalism in general is so
Oh no, MrBeast is not by any means a leftist. At best, he is a liberal and a capitalist. He is not a leftist progressive who's going to talk about the ills of capitalism. He's very much in favor of capitalism. The guy jokes about like child labor on Twitter. Like he's very much like a grind set dude, bro, pro capitalism. You know, I made it. Anybody can make it kind of guy. Like he is very much not a socialist or probably in any way in favor of reform of the economy. As far as I'm aware, he's never given any indication that he is against the system that has made him very successful.
Exploitative. He's just doing these token things, and in my mind, it's to make himself look better and it's to grow his brand. Look at the title of his video, spending $1 million in 24 hours. That's not, I am helping Mark, who it comes from a poor background, get a better life. Please, Mark, do this gimmick with me with the money you won, and I can make more money off it. I can get more subscribers, I can get more YouTube fame, and I can get in the algorithm. This video has 43 million views. Again, if he wasn't clickbait and everything...
Bro, you can buy a cheap bed frame for less than $100? Yeah, but like, how much is like $100 is a lot of money, right? Like, $100 is a lot of fucking money, all right? So, you could spend that $100 on a shit ton of groceries. Like, a ridiculous amount of groceries if you shop smart. Or you could spend it on a bed frame, which, as nice as that is, it's still a bed frame. You can't eat it. It's not gonna keep the elements away from you. It's not gonna keep the lights on. Like, it's not going to make you money. It's just a bed frame that looks nice and makes you feel like you're living in a nicer house and make more money. So yeah, a lot of people are going to opt not to splurge $100 on a bed frame when that $100 could go to a lot of groceries otherwise. So yeah. Or you could spend it on a 3-month tier 4 sub to Xander Hall. That is true. You could do that as well. That is a well-spent $100 if you ask me.
Do you think they'd get as many
It's actually 96, not 100.
views for this series? So to his credit, MrBeast also sets up Mark with financial advisors just so he doesn't mismanage his new assets. And I'm sure a lot of people will say in the comments, Mark would not agree with you. Mark is happy MrBeast did this and gave him a lot of money. Mark is happy for his new life. He probably will have to work again since he spent most of his money. His house is only worth $100,000. So maybe I'd appreciate it if MrBeast said, here's $1 million and some financial advisors so you can probably never have to work again, because this is a significant amount of money. But again, over the course of the video in the series, MrBeast has helped Mark out as a person.
You know for a fact MrBeast had the no stocks rule. You know I would have just been like, if that wasn't a rule, I'd just been like, oh, $1 million? Okay, PayPal it to me. Okay, cool, okay, all right. Transferring it to Robinhood. Cool. All right, it's in the S&P 500. I spent the $1 million. I bought my S&P stock. At worst, it'll either lose like 0.002% of value or gain 0.002% of value by the time I get home and sell it, liquefy it for actual fun, like cash that I can use the way I want to. Yeah, that's literally what I'd do. I would split the stocks though. S&P 500 is pretty safe. The S&P 500 has always been my personal go-to of like, yeah, this is a pretty safe place to put it, you know? I've personally never lost money on the S&P 500 because it's pretty much the economy, and it, in my experience, always bounced back. NASDAQ and S&P are both down. They are right now, but they always come back. That's the thing. They always come back.
In terms of this video specifically, I find it pretty exploitative, showing a situation, MrBeast's comments, and using this guy for more views, for more subscribers, and for more clout for MrBeast himself. So let's move on to a more stark problem I have with him. So he's made recent videos about the world situation at the moment, and he recently rang up a bunch of people and gave them a couple $1,000s. So what people do is they tell MrBeast their story, how, you know, everything has affected them, their jobs.
Being a S&P 500 virgin and not a Dow Jones Giga Chad. I mean, like, whatever you prefer, okay? If old fucking boomers invest in it without even a fucking thought, like if your grandpa, like your grandpa and your grandpa's grandpa were like going to Bloomberg terminals or whatever to invest in this particular index fund, and you know the name of it from that, then it's probably a good one. But do not take investment advice from me. I'm just giving my opinion.
Their livelihoods, their medical bills, and then he gives them a bit of money. Notice how I say a bit, because he doesn't...
S&P 500 is definitely one of the safest investments, but it can be a good idea to diversify your portfolio with some foreign equities as well. Yeah, of course. Like, diversify your portfolio is one of the most, like, basic advice you can give. This is just me saying, like, oh, what I would do at that moment for, like, a mic drop moment if I had won $1 million from MrBeast, and that was not against the rules.
Actually given that much when you think about it, especially because Americans don't have universal healthcare. The way the government has dealt with everything has been awful. One $1,200 stimulus check is not enough. In the UK, for example, if you get put on the furlough scheme, you get 80% of your wages, and that goes on through till the end of September. Again, pointing to a general problem I have with him is that he never does anything to tackle the real causes of these problems. It's just, here is $5,000 random stranger, while I spend $500,000 on the world's biggest firework.
Never thought that the whole world would just stop. I mean, I live in New York City, so, at the beginning I kind of was essential at my job, and at the end I wasn't.
You've been laid off recently?
Yeah, my last day of work was the 20th.
It hurts to hear all this. So here at WSMB, we want to give you $10,000 to try to make your life a little bit easier.
That's just crazy. That's just insane.
Oh, you're about to make me cry. Okay.
Trying to make a decision whether to take a job. You might get sick.
Hopefully the $10,000 makes it where you don't have to pick a job that can potentially get you sick. How's the recent pandemic affected you?
I am out of work. As soon as they heard about it, we were shut down. So I rely on mostly family.
How does that make Blast University feel? All right. So we here at Blast University want to help you out. How does $5,000 sound? Do you think that would help alleviate some stress from your life? $5,000.
A lot. I can pay a lot of bills.
We're glad we could help you.
I'm glad you can help me. I'm glad.
We just wanted to see how the recent events have affected people. How have you been finding yourself with all these things going on?
My second job is closed. Like my full-time job, hours are reduced bad. I had to go online with school.
So wait, you were working 2 jobs and going to school at the same time?
Yes.
We here at Blast University would like to give you $5,000 to help make things a little bit easier on you.
Are you serious?
We are very serious.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know what to say except for thank you.
You're very welcome.
It will make things a lot easier on me, and I really do appreciate it. Like, I'm kind of speechless.
Okay, if I were the Cavernacle as a long-time MrBeast viewer, I would then follow this up with clips of MrBeast donating to random streamers shit tons of money. Particularly larger streamers. He would donate large amounts of money to big streamers on Twitch back during the Fortnite craze. And he was even smaller back then, so it's funny that he was donating more money in many cases to these random streamers on Twitch that he would find playing Fortnite than to these people who are calling in and talking about their issues and listen, he still gave them money, but I'm just saying, it's an interesting juxtaposition.
Do you have time for a quick survey?
Yeah, I guess so.
Have financially and everything, things been good, or has the pandemic?
Cavernacle's a Mel defender, by the way. Oh, I've seen Cavernacle have plenty of pretty iffy and cringe takes before, but I've also seen Cavernacle make some pretty good content, maybe we can fix him, all right? Hashtag I can fix him.
Pandemic affect you negatively?
The pandemic has definitely affected us negatively. I got laid off from my job. Supposedly,
you got laid off?
My whole team just kind of got in.
Pick a number between 1 and 10.
9.
Do you think $9,000 will help make your life better?
Yeah, I think $9,000 would be amazing.
Well then, right after this call, I'm gonna wire you $9,000 to try to make things a little less stressful for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I
know not all of those people are the same, but again, it seems to me pretty disturbing using people who are falling on insanely hard times for your clickbait video, which you've titled, I give $200,000 to people who lost their jobs, 17 million views. He didn't give anyone $200,000. He spread $200,000 among multiple people.
That is true. That is true. MrBeast will do that, where it's giving $1 million to random homeless people on the street, and it's holy shit, he's giving $1 million out to random homeless people? God damn. But then you click on the video and it's, I've got $1 million, and we're gonna walk around to random homeless people and give them an amount, right? And it's oh, so we're splitting it among, okay, so it's not anywhere near as exciting as the thumbnail says, right? It's a little misleading. That's a good point.
Anything for clickbait from MrBeast. And like I said, a guy like MrBeast who's chucking around money like anybody's business, again, I don't know exactly where
I will say, though, this is my opinion on clickbait, and I really wish that this was the unanimous, broad, everybody agreed on this opinion on clickbait. It probably is. Clickbait on YouTube is unanimous and a necessity to get by in the algorithm, okay? When I make a video such as Blair White finally getting sued for her lies, that is clickbait. That is a title made in such a way that if you are someone who knows about Blair White and you're going to be holy shit, she's finally getting sued, let's go, and you click it, right? But it's not dishonest or misleading. When you click on that video, you then proceed to see me talk about Blair White getting sued for her lies. There's no lie there in my title. But there's different types of clickbait that are misleading, right? There's clickbait that's misleading that's like MrBeast's clickbait, where it's giving $1 million to homeless people, but in reality it's $1 million split up among multiple people, not $1 million to all those different people. But you're still getting something technically what is in the title, right? Technically the title is accurate, right? But then there's clickbait that's just outright not accurate. It's just a lie in the title, right? And I think Mr. Beast falls in between those two areas on that spectrum.
It all comes from, but if it comes from brand deals, he's not doing anything to really help these people's problems directly. Again, these people fall on hard times. Have you seen the cost of medical bills in America? You give them 5, 7, 8, 9, 10 grand. It's not going to help them forever. It's just, a band-aid. And again, in this instance specifically,
my favorite videos on the internet are the videos of people fighting off paramedics that have them like on the stretcher, taking them to the ambulance. Because like literally like fighting off the paramedics and running away, and all the people watching like start clapping. I know that sounds like a fake story, but I'm not even kidding.
Mr. Goff is going to have something to say.
You forgot? Oh, did he just tumbleweed into it?
Yeah, he tumbled into the waiter.
So, that is the state of American healthcare right there, because you know what happens if those paramedics get his ID and he gets into the ambulance? $500 charge pretty much, right? Like, it's like upwards of $500 just for the ride on the ambulance. Man had to make sure that fucking guy did not get his identity, because then they can send you a goddamn Try 2000. Yeah, it's more accurate. So he was like fighting a door that if he crossed that door and they found out his name, those motherfuckers were going to be able to charge him thousands. That is why he was fighting to get away from them. Like, basically in America, the thought is if you can fight and run away from the like paramedics, you should not be getting taken away by the paramedics because it's a waste of money, right? And so he fought and he got away. It proof he didn't need them.
This is just trying to make himself look better. This is just trying to get himself clout. And unlike Mark's case, he's not significantly changing these guys' lives, especially with the uncertainty around everything. Now, that was
yes, always keep a fake ID on you, specifically to give paramedics. I'm just kidding. That's a massive crime. Do not do that. Like, that's a crime on several levels. Seriously, do not even like, don't even think about that. The thought police will get you just for thinking about it.
2 months ago, most recently, he uploaded a new video called I Bought the World's Largest Firework, $600,000. Maybe you should have used that $600,000 to give to people who've fallen on hard times. Maybe you should have used that money to...
Yeah, I mean, I get that criticism, but at the same time, would he have tens of thousands of dollars to split up among random people in those smaller, less viewed videos? Which, if you look at those videos where he's giving, like, $5,000, $10,000 to those people who are falling along hard times, they are not getting as many views as buying the most expensive firework in the world. Those are the videos that get him subs and get him views, which makes him money, which he can spend on those other videos. So, yeah, you kind of have to play the YouTube algorithm. I mean, like, let's be real. You don't have any money to spend on these good causes if the videos aren't blowing up on YouTube.
To give more people you say you care about, the chance for a new life, instead of wasting it on probably the most ridiculous thing in terms of you shoot a firework, it explodes, and then it's gone after about 30 seconds.
We are about to launch the largest firework anyone in mankind's history has ever seen. Literally a world record. $160,000. Get what you want!
Oh, yo, you can hear that. I felt too much. You spent $600,000 on that while giving some of these people who really need it a measly $5,000. Again, I'm not saying it's not good he has done those things, but when you compare what he's doing, he's a guy who can throw around all this money. You're barely doing anything in the grand scheme of things to help people with that stuff while you're spending so much money on ridiculous stunts, paid for by brands or not. And let's get to the point, if this stuff is paid for brands, that's even more sickening, that they're just throwing around money for ridiculous stuff like this just as he's throwing around money.
Okay. This really does, like, this is I feel like he should have ended the video at 14 minutes, 13 seconds. I feel like that was where the video was at its strongest. I feel like this last bit is just kind of dragging the rest down now. Something that I feel like a lot of lefty content creators can be bad at, and the Cavernacle does fall into this crutch sometimes, or this crux sometimes, is forgetting that a lot of conservatives may inevitably stumble across your video and potentially give it a chance. But just because they gave your video a chance and watched it doesn't mean they're going to agree with it. If you start kind of presuming the audience already agrees with you and, like, making arguments like that, like, this is not a very compelling argument in my opinion. Like, Yeah, the fireworks gone in 30 seconds and it was just a flash of light. That money could have been spent better. Whose life was improved by this? It's like anybody who knows how the YouTube algorithm works is going to find that argument stupid. Anybody who enjoyed MrBeast's video will find it stupid. Anybody who doesn't have an understanding of capitalism and the economy, even on a basic level, will find it stupid. It's just you're throwing such a narrow net by making comments like this right here in the end half of your, or like the end portion of your video.
Because there are significant problems in the world right now, and there are very, very, I guess, direct problems. It's not just,
my point is, a lot of MrBeast fans just like watching his videos because they're fun, and so when you moralize about how somehow this seemingly innocuous, entertaining content is somehow a bad thing, it's going to make a lot of MrBeast fans go like, what the fuck are you talking about, you crazy SJW or whatever, or your crazy cancel culture, whatever the term is for SJWs now.
General problems with capitalism, consumer capitalism, healthcare. It's literally like people are being laid off, people are being evicted at unprecedented levels, especially in America. When you're a guy who is either pretending or clearly cares about people by giving them so much money, I don't think now's the time to start spending it on totally ridiculous stuff just for clickbait videos. And it's not surprising, which he probably knows, this video did significantly better than the video of him handing out money to people in need.
I did say that was going to be the case before, didn't I? Yes, that is how the YouTube algorithm works. I don't think this is a very good argument, personally. MrBeast doesn't have hundreds of thousands to give away to random people. If those videos where he spends a bunch of money on something clickbaity don't end up getting tons of views, if he doesn't do those videos, he doesn't have that money to spend on positive causes. I started this video criticizing MrBeast. I want to clarify. This is me being fair here and pointing out a bad argument where I see it.
This one got 38 million views, which gets him a bunch of money, which also gets him a bunch of subs. And like I said, if there's a brand funding this, he has taken them to the bank and he's made that all for himself. So I hope you see through the course of this video why his videos in general are problematic. And yes, I understand the people in the comments who say, MrBeast has helped loads of people. He's given them loads of money. That's helped them out. What have you done? And of course, I can say I have not.
I really wish someone would make a video on MrBeast that doesn't focus on this, like, nebulous idea of, oh, he's spending lots of money on a thing that I don't approve of. Your purchases, I don't approve of your financial purchases, despite the fact your financial purchases hurt no one. I am actually going to criticize you because you donate money to people, but also spend money on other things and don't spend that other money donating more to people. If MrBeast never made a habit whatsoever out of donating to people, there'd be a lot less people criticizing him for not donating more. That's the thing. When you set a precedent for being a charitable, kind YouTuber, people start demanding and expecting more out of you. It will never be enough. There'll never be enough charity streams. There'll never be enough donations, right? Obviously, people acting in good faith, that's not going to be a problem. But there are people who try to use that against people, right? Like, how many times have you seen people say, here's a good one. I actually saw this just yesterday. Yeah, you guys really think Vosh cares about anything he talks about? What, he does a charity stream like, what, every 3 to 6 months? And it's like, oh, AA raises like what, a few tens of thousands, and it's like, that's what you're going to criticize him for? That he doesn't raise more money, and he doesn't do it often enough? And it became, it's just one of those moments where you realize, like, there will always be people out there who will try to find any excuse to attack you, even doing positive things, right? What I would like people who criticize MrBeast from the left to focus on more so from here on out is how MrBeast may be using his philanthropy and positive acts as a shield against valid criticism that may come in the future. Like, think about it. If you're a smart, like, business figure, right, and you know that at some point you are inevitably going to slip up and do something that'll get you canceled. That is inevitability of all humans because no human is perfect. And you want to prep for that to happen. What better way to prep for that than to build up a bank account, so to say, of goodwill with the population by flooding people's thoughts of you with potentially disingenuous positive acts. Don't forget the argument that Vosh was just growing his brand. Yeah, a lot of people made the argument that when Vosh did his charity streams to the PCRF and Planned Parenthood, etc., he was just doing it to grow his brand, and they just completely ignored the idea that perhaps he cares about these causes, which I personally know he does. And it just, yeah, that's essentially the same argument Cabernacle's making, so I'm a little hesitant to little hesitant to agree with it. However, overall, I will admit, I think this video made some pretty good arguments and brought up some pretty good points about MrBeast and how his content could be problematic or exploitative. And yeah, I do recommend you go check out his video and leave some support on it because you know, we're all about giving credit to the content creators we react to here. We're not trying to Hassan it up, you know, just getting up and leaving the screen with the chair sitting there for like 10 minutes going. Whatever. Anyway. With all that said, if you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like. It really helps the videos, the channel, my VODs, my streams, everything out a lot more than I think you guys know. You can also subscribe, ring the bell icon to turn on all notifications so YouTube tells you when I go live or upload a new video, as well as comment down below. It really helps me a lot. You can also follow my social medias, linked down below in the description, to see me on other platforms, including Twitter, TikTok, Fan Discord, Instagram, and Patreon. And of course, finally, you can support me financially by donating, subscribing, or gifting a sub on my website, xanderhall.com/live, to help support my move, as well as my goal to start doing Quail content. And you can support me on YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, Stream Elements, Patreon. Thank you so much for watching, and have a good one.